बहार आई है इस वक्ते ख़िज़ां में, लगे हैं फूल मेरे बोस्तां में।
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The love the promised Messiah alayhi salam had for God the Almighty is shown by his remembrance of him in every waking moment. Hazrat Ahmad said that the promised Messiah alayhi salam would say, "Holy is Allah with his praise, holy is Allah the Most High." He would repeat this so often that even while he was sleeping and changing his sides, these words were on his lips.
This love that he had for God Almighty is something that we see from a young age. You know, people who are younger, they are looking forward to finishing their studies, getting a job, getting a good salary. They're after the world. They want to make a living, and they want to pursue different careers so that they can become independent. And that's what they're worried about. But in the case of the promised Messiah alayhi salam, we see that from a very young age, he was focused on God Almighty. He was worshipping God Almighty as much as he could. He was remembering Allah the Exalted as much as he could. And there's one narration from his youth that illustrates this. His father, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Murtaza Sahib, he once had a Sikh friend deliver a message to the promised Messiah alayhi salam because of an English official that had come to that district. So the message was that, go and tell him that this person who is my contact, he is in this district, I can send a message to him. Because he is my contact, he can get you a good job if you like. And so this Sikh friend goes to the promised Messiah alayhi salam and gives him this message from his father. And the promised Messiah alayhi salam says, "Tell my respected father that I appreciate his love and his compassion." But he says that where I wanted to be employed, I'm already employed. In other words, I'm already employed with God Almighty. That is where my focus is. That is where my love is. And I don't need to go after any of these worldly jobs or professions.
So I can add upon that. At the same time, the promised Messiah in his youth, we find a narration that his father is describing to a senior officer who came to him about the qualities of his son. So that narration, it goes like this: that senior officer asked the father of the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam, that we've heard that you have a younger son, but we've never seen him. And the promised Messiah's father, he smiled, and in response he said that, yes, I also have a younger son, but he said he's like a new bride, which you don't see very much. And then he carried on to say that he's a masiter. A masiter means a person who spends most of his time in the mosque for worship of Allah. So he said he's a masiter, and he does not have any care for any worldly endeavors. And then the promised Messiah's father, then he explains how you can actually go and find him. How is that? And he says very interestingly that go to the mosque and go and search for him. And the first place he says is that go to the place where there's ablution, and you'll find him there. But if you don't find him there, he says you can go to any corner of the mosque and you'll find him in there. And if you don't find him, don't get despaired and don't leave this. I'll tell you, he gave him the last, he said that you'll find him rolled up in the prayer mats. And he described the way or how, why he was saying that. He said that my son, as he is alive, but he is dead, and when they roll him up in the prayer mat, he will not move. So This incident really shows the dedication and the concentration that he had for Allah, that not even such a thing which would ever happen, if it did happen, he wouldn't be disturbed, right? So this is an amazing story in showing how much he was devoted for Allah in his youth.
That's an amazing story. And then also in the Promised Messiah alayhi salam's writing, he would talk about how much he loved God. He said that mosques are my house, righteous people are my brothers, remembrance of Allah is my wealth, and Allah's creation is my family.
Yes, I would like to add something or say something else about the Promised Messiah's love for Allah, and how he demonstrated that, and how in certain circumstances, so we find that the Promised Messiah had to deal with many court cases in his time, and in those court cases there were issues which were very meticulous and very important, and they were pertaining to him and his family. And we find that the Promised Messiah would be, even in the depth of those cases, when he should be giving his statements, when the prayer time came, he would offer prayer, he would say it on time, and he would never miss the prayer. And in fact, that we even find that he would be so meticulous that he would continue to finish the prayer and be fully satisfied with it. And a person can't even think that in such matters like that, that they would, when their name is being called, that they would focus so much on the prayer. Now, there is a narration by the Promised Messiah ﷺ himself, where he explains that when he went for a court case in Batala, that the time for prayer came. And he went for prayer, and he explains that the opposing party, they thought that they could use this as an opportunity in their benefit, so that they can have a one-sided judgment from the judge. And the Promised Messiah, he says that I finished my prayers and I was going to go back to, explain the matter to the judge. And he was thinking that the judge is going to make the decision that because he was not there, it will not be in his favor, rather the other party. So when he went to the judge and he explained him that I was absent because I was offering my prayer, the judge, he said to him that we've already decided your case in your favor. So, this describes on his, his true absorption in tawakkul Allah, the trust in Allah, that Allah will always help him in every situation. And it's just a marvel, when we recount and think about these things.
So the same tawakkul, the same trust in God is seen throughout the life of the Promised Messiah ﷺ, and it comes from a place of love, right? His love for God Almighty was so immense that it gave him that trust as well, right? And we see that throughout his life. Another occasion where he showed this tawakkul, this trust, is at the time of the death or the murder of Pandit Lekram, which happened right in accordance with the prophecies of the Promised Messiah ﷺ, that he was killed. And so at that time, the opponents started making allegations, and there were conspiracy theories that were being passed around. And so the superintendent of police, he actually came to Qadian, and he wanted to investigate. And there were guards that he brought along with him, and he wanted to investigate this further, especially these ideas that were being spread about the Promised Messiah ﷺ. And as Mir Nasir Nawab Sahib, radiyallahu anhu, he saw that the superintendent of police has come, and he became really worried and anxious, and he went right away to the Promised Messiah ﷺ, and he expressed his anxiety, and he said, the superintendent of police has come, and he has brought an arrest warrant, and there are handcuffs with him, so what's going to happen? The Promised Messiah ﷺ was sitting, he was writing a book. He was so calm. He was so calm. And he looked up, And he told Mir Sahib, he said, Mir Sahib, people wear bracelets of gold and silver, at times of happiness. That's what they wear. We will just assume that we are wearing this bracelets of iron for the sake of God Almighty. So that was his trust in God Almighty that he was expressing. And after a pause, he said, but don't worry, this is not going to happen, because Allah does not allow such disgrace for his vicegerents, for his chosen ones.
Wow. And another example of the promised Messiah, alayhi salam, love for God the Almighty, is in some of his writing. He writes, how beautiful you are, O captor of my heart, how lovely your attributes, O love of my life. Ever since I beheld your face, I have given you my heart. Except you, no one else remains in this world.
Yes, there's so many faith-inspiring incidents of the promised Messiah, alayhi salatu wasalam's confidence in Allah and his relationship with him, and his love and zeal for Allah. And there's another incident which has been narrated about such a time when it's awe-inspiring to listen. And there was a time in the court case when Maulvi Karim Deen, who initiated that court case against him, he had done that, and then the Hindu magistrate was going to make a decision not in the favor of the promised Messiah. And this news went to the promised Messiah at that time, that it doesn't look like it's in your favor, and they will be arresting you and imprisoning you. When this news reached the promised Messiah, at the time he was actually lying down because he was not feeling well. And as he heard that news, he, with enthusiasm, jumped up, and he just said with dignity that just let him put his hands on the lion of Allah. This was the way in which his response was, in a state of where he was. So these are just fascinating and awe-inspiring and faith-lifting narrations.
Wow, it's amazing. To capture the full love the Prophet Messiah alayhi salam had for God the Almighty is not possible in this short program, I don't think. But to end off, I would like to quote the Holy Quran. It says that God is closer to you than your jugular vein. And to quote a hadith, it says that when you walk towards God, He will run towards you. And that is all we have time for. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
बहार आई है इस वक्ते ख़िज़ां में, लगे हैं फूल मेरे बोस्तां में।